we shall start this session, and this session we are going to start with organic spectroscopy structural elucidation. In that, in order to elucidate the structure of a compound, we need to know what are the structural features of an organic molecule, because we are going to search all this data from the spectra. That's why it is better to know what are the structural features. An organic molecule contains basically elements. What are the elements present in organic molecule? It is carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen and sulfur, oxygen, halogen. And therefore, some of the spectra that we are dealing with have to give these informations. Okay, this is what. Next, the compound has a molecular formula. This is also one of our aim. And the compound contains carbon chain. The carbon chain may be aromatic, may be aliphatic, it may be alicyclic, all those things. The compounds contains bonds. The bond may be a single bond or double bond or maybe triple bond. Compounds contains functional group, organic compounds. Compounds have a stereochemistry, spatial arrangement of atoms. The constitution of which carbon is linked to which and which hydrogen is linked to which carbon, which nitrogen is linked to which, all those things. There is stereochemistry, many stereochemistry involved in the molecules. And there are other interactions, hydrogen bond, van der Waals, London forces, spatial interaction in protein. There are disulfide bond, protein folding we have studied. Because an organic molecule, in order to deduce structure, you need this much of information. Then only you can able to completely derive a structure for molecule. That's why we have reminded of an organic molecule, structural features of an organic molecule. What spectra is going to give all this detail to you, right? No technique gives you the structure. This is very important point in structural elucidation. No technique is directly going to you, this is the structure of your molecule. The spectra or any technique is going to give you only data. The spectroscopy scientist, that is you hereafter, going to interpret the data to get some useful information about the molecule and then deduce the structure based on the information. And therefore, it is your role. Your role is big in elucidating the structure rather than the instrument itself. The instrument is giving you data which is very much helpful for interpreting and for deducing the structure of a molecule. And therefore, your role is very, very big. And therefore, we organized this workshop. Okay, that is the reason why we organized this workshop. Let us see what technique will give, what information you get from what technique. Let us see in this slide. We need what are the elements present in the molecules, and that is given by CHN analyzer, CH analyzer, CHN analyzer, CHS, CHNSO analyzer, or different analyzers are there. From that you can date what are the elements present and what are the composition or the percentage weight of that element in the compound. You can study from there. And the structure contains molecular formula. From where we can get that? From the element analysis, that is CHS analyzer. It gives percentage of composition. Using that composition and data from mass spectra, collectively we calculate the molecular formula. Okay. And then where the carbon chain, you can get carbon chain details can be got from NMR analysis. The ring, aliphatic or aromatic, all these details you can get from NMR spectra. Bonds, degree of unsaturation. There is a calculation for calculating the degree of unsaturation, and the bond details you can also get from NMR. Some clue you can get from NMR. And the functional groups. The functional group, what are the functional group present in the molecule that you can get from UV and IR. What is the stereochemistry of the molecule? Which atom is placed where? Which atom is adjacent to which element is adjacent to which element? All these details you can get it from NMR. And what about the interaction, hydrogen bond, van der Waals, all other interactions that you can get from IR, NMR, mostly in 2D NMR. In case of spatial arrangements, especially for protein folding or other drug molecules, the spatial interaction between elements are studied using or interpreted using 2D NMR. If you see in all those things, NMR play a very important role in many of this. You can see carbon chain, ring, bonds, stereochemistry, interactions, and therefore NMR is a modern technique and a very, very useful technique for elucidating structure for compounds. Without NMR, you cannot elucidate many of the compounds. Okay. The next, and therefore we have studied, this is the introduction, and therefore we shall see from the element analysis what is an element analysis can do. In the earlier days, the element analysis means there are two categories. You have to detect the presence of element and then do we need to detect carbon hydrogens? No need. We no need to detect carbon hydrogen. Why? Because every organic compound contains carbon and hydrogen. There is no organic compound which do not contain carbon and hydrogen, and therefore detecting these two is meaningless, and therefore no need to detect carbon and hydrogen in an organic compound. That will always be there. And you have to detect the presence of other compounds that we know already. Lessing test, we have performed this test in our UG and PUG classes. That test is enough to detect the presence of nitrogen, sulfur and halogens. The second part in element analysis is estimation. To calculate the molecular formula, we need a percentage composition of each element. Then only we can be able to calculate the molecular formula. Therefore, estimating each element percentage composition is another important task in element analysis. Usually carbon and hydrogen is estimated by Liebig's method, nitrogen by Dumas and Geldahl's method, and sulfur and halogens by Carrier's method. These are the methods are available to estimate elements. And the oxygen is not usually estimated, it is calculated from the percentage weight of other elements. And let us see one by one. We are not going in detail. Let me give a glimpse of each method. In Liebig's method, the carbon and hydrogen estimation, it is a combustion analysis. That means the organic compound is burnt in a specialized tube in presence of copper oxide, where the carbon is converted into carbon dioxide and hydrogen is converted into water. The water is absorbed in this area, that is anhydrous calcium chloride, in this tube, that is denoted as 2, and carbon dioxide is absorbed in KOH solution. These two tubes are weighed before and after the experiment. From the difference in weight, the amount of water and amount of carbon dioxide is calculated. From there, stoichiometrically, the percentage composition of carbon and hydrogen is calculated. For details, you can go and study or learn this Liebig's method in detail for all the calculations part. Right, how nitrogen is calculated? Nitrogen is calculated by this method called Dumas method. This is also a combustion method in which in same type of tube, the organic known amount of or weighed amount of organic compound is burnt here in presence of all these conditions. In this condition, this nitrogen is converted into nitrogen gas. In this method, the volume of nitrogen and the pressure of nitrogen is noted. by a nitrometer. From the volume and the pressure, the percentage of nitrogen is calculated using a formula. This is how nitrogen is calculated by Dumas method. There is one more method called Geldar's method, in which this organic compound is taken in a specialized flask called as Geldar's flask, in which the compound is converted into nitrogen present in the compound is converted into ammonia, and which is absorbed in sulfuric acid, the known amount of sulfuric acid, where the ammonia is converted into ammonium sulfate. The sum of the sulfuric acid is converted into ammonium sulfate, then the remaining sulfuric acid is titrated, and stoichiometrically the amount of ammonia is calculated, and from there the percentage of nitrogen is calculated. This method is called as a Geldar's method. And for calculation of sulfur, we use a Carrier's method. In this method, this organic compound is mixed with an oxidizing agent, where the sulfur is converted into sulfuric acid. The sulfuric acid is again treated with barium chloride to precipitate barium chloride, and there is a barium sulfate. The barium sulfate is estimated gravimetrically. From that weight of barium sulfate, the percentage of sulfur is calculated using formula stoichiometrically. This method is called as Carrier's method. Similarly, for halogens, the same Carrier's method is used, where the halogens are converted into their silver halides. They are also precipitate, and these silver halides are again estimated by gravimetric method, dried and weighed. From the weight of the silver halide, the percentage of halogens are calculated. For example, it is given how the percentage of bromine is calculated. And from the atomic weight of bromine and molecular weight of silver bromide, and weight of silver bromide formed in the Carrier's method, and weight of the organic bromide, organic molecule that we have already taken from using this formula. For example, if we get around 141 gram of AG bromide, then for 250 milligram of organic substance, there is 24% of bromine is there. This is how it is calculated. Okay. But I just quickly passed through all those methods, because nowadays we don't do all those. If you give the sample for analysis, there are many institute has these analyzers. If you give sample for these analyzers, they will give the percentage weight. A few milligrams of sample are enough to get the percentage composition. There are CH analyzers, CHN analyzer, there are CHNS, CHNSO analyzer, different analyzers have come up in the analytical chemistry field. They will give the percentage. This is percentage composition. Okay, you can get this is the percentage composition, and from that this is carbon, this is hydrogen, this is nitrogen according to this analyzer, and from this percentage you can able to calculate. You need not to go into all those previous method. That was old method. Nowadays analyzers are used to calculate the percentage weight of each elements. You can get from that. Then now we are going to get molecular formula. The molecular formula is equal to empirical formula multiplied by a factor. Here, then what is called the empirical formula? The empirical formula, this we have already studied in our school, stoichiometric calculations we have already studied. The empirical formula is the simplest mole ratio of elements in the molecule. Okay, the example, for example, take ethane. The mole ratio of ethane is 1:3, that is carbon is 1 and hydrogen is 3 times. This is the simplest mole ratio of the element present in ethane, and therefore the empirical formula of ethane is CH3. It is not C2H6, it is CH3. The elemental analysis calculation gives only the empirical formula, not the molecular formula. But then how? And therefore, from the empirical formula, you have to multiply by a factor. The factor is usually an integer. If you multiply with that integer, you will get a molecular formula. How do you calculate the factor? For the factor, you need molecular weight and empirical formula weight. The molecular weight is calculated from taken from mass spectra, and the empirical formula weight is calculated, and from this equation you will get the factor. If it is 1, then molecular formula and empirical formulas are the same. If you get 2, then in this case for C2H6 you have to multiply the number of carbon by 2 and the number of hydrogen by 2. Therefore C2H6. For ethane the factor is 2. Similarly, example we shall work out for methane. The empirical formula is CH3, and therefore the molecular weight is 30 usually, that we get from mass spectra. The empirical formula weight is calculated like this. Carbon is 1, it is multiplied by its atomic weight 12, therefore it contributes 12. Hydrogen, there are 3 hydrogen, each hydrogen weighs around 1 atomic mass unit, and therefore it gives 3. Totally the empirical formula weight is 50. To calculate the factor, molecular weight divided by empirical formula weight. The molecular weight is 30, whereas the empirical formula weight is 15. Therefore, the factor is 2. Using this factor, and therefore, from empirical formula, the molecular formula is C2H6. This is the simple explanation how we calculate a molecular formula. The similar way for all the molecules we will be doing. Then, how empirical formula is calculated? For calculation of empirical formula, we need percentage composition of each element. From the percentage composition that we get from mass analyzers, CH analyzers. We have elemental analyzers are there. We give sample to them. You will get a result of the percentage composition. You take that percentage composition, then using that percentage composition, we have to calculate the number of moles of each element in the molecule. This is the second one. And third, find the mole ratio between them. Then you will get the empirical formula. These are the 3 steps to calculate empirical formula. Let us see an example. This is an example where the percentage weight of carbon is 49.48 and hydrogen is 5.19 and nitrogen is 28.85, where oxygen has 16.4%. The first step what we get the percentage weight. In the second step, we calculate the number of moles. In order to calculate the number of moles, the percentage weight has to be divided by the atomic weight. The atomic weight of carbon is 12, and therefore we are dividing the percentage composition of carbon by 12. We get this result 4.123. Similarly, for hydrogen, the percentage weight of hydrogen is 5 and the atomic weight of hydrogen is 1, and therefore we divide the 5.19 divided by 1, the result is 5.19. Similarly, for nitrogen, the percentage composition of nitrogen is 28.85. We divide that by the atomic weight of nitrogen, that is 14. The result is 2.061. Similarly, right, in order to get the number of moles, the element percentage composition has to be divided by its own atomic weight to get a result. The second, we have to get a mole ratio. There is an error here. The mole ratio, in order to get mole ratio, you have to select. I have selected here, I have bolded and underlined this. This is the least value among the results. You have to see the result of number of moles. You take the least value in that and divide all the results by the least value. the result of number of moles of carbon. The number of moles of carbon is 4.123, and therefore I am going to divide the 4.123 by 1.029, which is the least value among the number of moles. And similarly by 5.19 by the least value, and the nitrogen number of moles by the least value, and so on. Here when you divide like this, I get another value here, 4.007, 5.00, okay, all those things, because we are using the whole numbers. 12 is a whole number. The atomic weight of carbon is not exactly 12, it is something, there is some fractions. If you use that fraction, you will get an accurate value here. Since we are using an approximate value, you will get values like this. You no need to worry about that, you just round up. You will get the value, because 4.007 it is equal to 4. If 5.004 you get 5, 2.002 you can do, and 1 it is 2. And here you must be very careful, it is 5.044, that's why I used its 5. If it is 5.2 or 5.5, I should not bring it to 5. There must be something else, and therefore if it is 5.5, you have to multiply it by 2. The whole thing has to be multiplied by 2. That you have to go to 10. That's how you have to round up. You should not round up when the value is 4 or 5 like that, right? When it is 0, 1, you can round up, no problem, right? Next, by this way we have calculated the empirical formula of this molecule is carbon is 4 times, therefore C4, hydrogen is 5 times, and therefore H5, nitrogen is 2 times, therefore N2, oxygen is 1 time, therefore O. By this method we can able to calculate the molecular formula, that is empirical formula. But how can we calculate molecular formula? In order to calculate molecular formula, we need molecular weight. The molecular weight can be obtained from mass spectral data. Right. The molecular weight of the compound from mass spectra is 194.19 gram per mole. This is the molecular weight. And therefore, we have to compare this molecular weight with the empirical formula weight. For that, we have to calculate empirical formula weight. The empirical formula weight calculation is this. There are 4 carbons, and therefore the 4 into 12. 12 is the atomic weight of carbon. There are 5 hydrogen, and therefore has to be multiplied by 1, because 1 is the atomic weight of hydrogen. There is 1 oxygen, and therefore 16. If you multiply all those things and add, you will get 97 as the empirical formula weight. Okay, now you have to find out the factor. The factor is molecular weight divided by empirical formula weight. The molecular weight is 194.19 gram, and therefore we have taken there, and the empirical formula weight is 97 gram. If you divide, you will get number 2. Therefore, we know the empirical formula weight C4H5ON2. In order to get the molecular weight, we get a factor, and therefore multiply all these numbers by 2. And therefore, earlier the carbon number was 4. Now you have to multiply it by 2. Therefore, C8. For hydrogen, it is 5 multiplied by 2. We get 10. Oxygen 1 multiplied by 2, we get 2. Nitrogen is 2, and multiplied by 2, we get 4. And therefore, this is the molecular weight of the compound C8, H10, and O2, and N4. And therefore, using the element analysis data and mass spectra, we can able to calculate the molecular weight of the compound. With this, we finish this element analysis lesson. I think you have learned, you can able to, using this method you can calculate a molecular weight for any compound, right? Next class, in the calculation we have seen, we need molecular weight. We have to learn more about molecular weight in mass spectra, how to get molecular weight from mass spectra. We will discuss that in detail in the next class. The quiz will be available tomorrow at 2 p.m. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for the class. We shall meet in the next session. Thank you.